and not elsewhere. Keynan.
Mr. Speaker, allow me to join this debate. Mr. Speaker, this debate has two aspects, and I'm glad that today the leader of majority and the leader of minority have agreed on one thing, that this house has been reduced to a house of lamentations, Mr. Speaker. This August House, Mr. Speaker, once upon a time was an appendage of the executive. We freed ourselves, and you know it, how it used to be. But suddenly again, we are going back to the same, Mr. Speaker. I'm told the chairman of transport is here, Mr. Speaker. When an MD of a national government agency, without any due regard, without any consultation, just by a circular, negates everything that this house has passed, Mr. Speaker, then what is the implication? The implication is we are no longer the August House that we used to be. When the MD of Kera sits down, and yet we have an oversight committee called the Transport Committee. When the MD for Kura sits down, and yet we have a committee here, and negates what we have passed, Mr. Speaker, that has gone through all the stages, the only inference that you can make is this is no longer the August House. I agree with what the leader of majority has said. The leader of majority and the leader of minority. Look, under the current constitution, and for those of us who have been part of this, we had certain considerations. Mr. Speaker, you know how we included devolution in the current constitution. You know how we captured equalization in the current constitution. CDF, all those now are floating in the air. The governors have gone to court to make sure equalization doesn't work. It's no longer functioning. The governors have gone to court to make sure NCDF is not working. The governors have gone to court to make sure RLNF is not working. The next thing they are saying is members of parliament have no role in the governance of the Republic of Kenya. Is that where you want to be? Is that where you want to be? That is where we are. To the extent that some of them are going public to say members of parliament have no role in the county affairs. Mr. Speaker, I want to urge this. I want to urge colleagues. There comes a time when people must be ready to make hard decisions. We need to do both summative and formative evaluation of all the resources that have devolved since the promulgation of the current constitution, so that we allow Kenyans to see the value of the billions and the trillions we have devolved, Mr. Speaker, as the true representative of the people, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, we'll sit here, lament, go to court. I'm glad what the Honorable Otiendo Amolo has said. But that's the court. What are we doing in the House here? The budget-making process is in our hands, Mr. Speaker. We are not using it. The oversight process is in our hands. We are not using it. The legislative power is in our hands. We are not using it, Mr. Speaker. Then what are we saying? Mr. Speaker, this group, Mr. Speaker, comprising of the Council of Governors, slowly they have taken over. One time, they blackmailed the members of parliament. The other time, they blackmailed the senators. They blackmailed the executive. Everybody's been blackmailed. Under our watch, what are we going to do? This is what I want to suggest. We need to critically dissect the current constitution and address all the areas, the gray areas, Mr. Speaker, that ought to have added value to the well-being of the people we represent. If we do both summative and formative evaluation, Mr. Speaker, you'll realize the billions that have gone. I had the privilege of representing 2 constituencies, Mr. Speaker, and I am ready to take all of you for a benchmarking visit to Wajir West and Eldas and see what the national government has done over the last 10 years and what the county government has done over the last 10 years, and you'll be in a position to compare and appreciate that our constituencies still survive on budgetary supports from the national government.
Thank you.
Yet billions are devolved. My conclusion is this. Chairman Transport, if you are here, we cannot be under the threat of a Mayor MD of Kera. He has issued circulars, many circulars. In fact, Mr. Speaker, some of these MDs, because we have failed to bite, we have failed to act. I want to, yesterday in the House Business Committee, and I want my colleagues, the leader of majority and the leader of minority to hear this. This is the first time, and I want all the members to hear this, in the history of NCDF, from July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, our proposals are yet to be approved. What are these other funds you are looking for? Where are your CDF proposals? You are being duped to ask to facilitate the pass allocations. Where is the money?
Thank you.
Even the basic is not there. So chairman, former chairman of NCDF, I've been running after the CEO and the management of NCDF board. Where are the approvals? Where are the approvals for the fund managers to actualize? The approvals have not been done. What are we saying? Whose mistake is it? It's our mistake. That approval ought to have been in place by December so that we roll out the project.
Yes.
So we are all sitting. Let's stop complaining. Let's not reduce ourselves to house of lamentation.
GK.
Can we act and bite constitutionally? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
GK.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to add my voice to this debate. Honorable Speaker, I want to remind members that the KRB Act has not been amended